Good afternoon. This is Elizabeth Griffin, your independent author from South Philadelphia, and welcome back to my channel. If you haven't subscribed, please take a moment and do so, and definitely hit the thumbs up button if you like this video. So today I'm going to talk about language and incorporating language into your writing. So as a lot of you know, I love language. I love Spanish, French. It's something about language that fascinates me. And I've been trying to trace it back to its beginning or its origin. And the closest I can think of is when I was a young girl, I went to the emergency room with my aunt, and there was a black man, older man there, and he was studying a Spanish book. And I was fascinated with the idea that you could learn a language through a book. So I think that's where my fascination began. And then as I got older, I was introduced to language in middle school and high school. I didn't get to take it because I was in one of the classes that they didn't really offer it to, but I had gotten a taste of the language. And I think that also inspired me to be curious about language. And then of course, growing up in Philadelphia, we have the Puerto Rican community, we have the African American community, we have the Asian community. So you come into contact with different ethnic groups, and you're curious about their culture and their language and so forth. So I think all of that has resulted in me being curious about language. And what I find fascinating and interesting, and what I like to incorporate in my writing, is that I never thought about when you learn a language that you could dream in that language. And I had an experience that shocked me when I was studying Spanish. I had a dream that was my characters were speaking in Spanish and I could understand them. So that's where the genesis of my love for language originated. And as far as incorporating it into writing, I noticed as a young adult that a lot of the Harlequin romance writers would incorporate French or Spanish or German or Russian, things like that, in their writing. And I found that when they introduced that language, they also introduced characters from that ethnic background, and you got to learn a little bit about the character and their homeland and their culture and their tradition and how they view the world. So I think incorporating language definitely is a plus. You introduce your readers to different worlds, to different languages, and so forth. And also, you give them a taste of the language. They can investigate it on their own, or they can, maybe if they don't understand the words that are written on the page, they can go and look it up and find out what the meanings are. In my book, Scrubbalicious, there is an Indian main character, the male, and he, I mentioned Hindu, and I use phrases in that book, and I learned some of those phrases through songs that I would listen to. And also in that book, I use Spanish. One of my main characters is Spanish, and as a result of me studying Spanish, I was able to write paragraphs in Spanish. And the way I incorporated it in my writing was that even if you didn't know the language, even if you couldn't read some of the paragraphs, you got enough information to understand what the story was about, or that paragraph was about. But for those people who are bilingual, that was like a bonus for them. They got to read it in English, and they got to read more extensively on that paragraph in Spanish. So I think incorporating language in your writing introduces the world to language, and also it creates a curiosity in your reader and maybe a desire to learn a second language. I know a lot of people throughout the world speak more than one language. In the United States, it's not so much the same. A lot of us we speak one language, and I think we should broaden our horizons, and we should learn multiple languages because it can benefit you. I've been on different apps where I text in Spanish, and they understood me, and they were surprised. They thought maybe I was a native, but no, it was through community college and through my desire to learn language. And so when you learn a language, you can move in other environments and in other worlds, and you can communicate with other people, and it's a nice thing to have, and it makes you feel empowered, and it gives you a self-confidence to know that, hey, I can communicate with somebody in Spanish. I can read the boards and like the signs in Spanish. It's a nice feeling. So I hope you appreciate this little video and my take on language and incorporating it into your writing. And definitely follow me on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. And as always, love, peace, joy, happiness. Bye-bye.